You're watching The Fight Guy. UFC 328 just wrapped up, and we went perfect on the main card predictions for the first time this year. Big card to go perfect on. But we're looking to keep that energy for UFC Vegas 117. MELK Costa is taking on ARNOLD Allen in a 5-round featherweight main event. I'm going to break down the entire card. I'm going to give you my detailed notes for every single matchup. There's been 4 fighters that have been replaced in total. I'm going to cover all of that, the most updated, in-depth breakdown as fast as possible. I'm going to try to do this in 15 minutes or less. We're going to break down every fight, starting with the first one on the early prelims, and that's Shauna Bannon. She's taking on Nicole Caliari in a women's strawweight fight that shouldn't be very good. This fight pretty much shows what we have to expect for the rest of the night. There's a couple decent fights, one really good fight, and then mostly this. Shauna Bannon, at least she has shown us the ability to win a fight in women's MMA via decision. Nicole Caliari hasn't won a fight via decision. All of her wins are finishes, which is pretty impressive, but you have to have the ability to win a decision. Like, you at least show us that. It's a prerequisite for women's MMA. With that being said, Shauna Bannon, 2-2 in the UFC, coming off of a submission loss to Sam Hughes. I'm going to take her to win via decision over Nicole Caliari, who is 0-2 in the UFC since her Dana White Contender Series debut. All of her wins are finishes, like I said. Carly Judas just slimed her out last July, and that's my girl. So I'm going to go with Shauna Bannon to win via decision. We'll move on to the next one, and this is Daniel Barez taking on Louis Gurule in a flyweight fight that should be a mid-off. There's nothing really too crazy here. Louis Gurule is on a 3-fight skid since his Dana White Contender Series debut. Took a lot of damage in his fight in February against Joshua Van's main sparring partner, and I don't think it would be hard to imagine this guy gets cut if he loses. I'm going to go with Daniel Barez to win this via decision. However, Barez is 1-2 in the UFC. He's been submitted 2 times in those fights. He's also had some tough tests, so obvious weakness is in the grappling. I don't think Gurule is the guy to try to take him down. I only see him hopping on the grappling wagon if he knocks Barez on the feet. Maybe he takes the back and does a rear naked choke, but I see it's more likely he finishes them with ground and pound in that scenario. I'm going to go with Daniel Barez to win this fight via decision. We'll move on to the next one. Another women's fight. Alice Ardelean is taking on Polyana Viana in a women's strawweight mid-off. Alice Ardelean, she's got 4 fights in the UFC. She's won the more recent 2. So at least she's got some motion. It might be slow motion, but it's motion. Had 5 straight finishes before her official debut loss against Shauna Bannon, who we already covered. Polyana Viana, I mean, holy shit. Is there anything I even need to say here? All of her wins are finishes. 5 of them knockouts, 8 submissions, but she's been finished 3 times in a row in her last few fights. I'm going to go with Alice Ardelean to continue that trend. I think she's going to finish Polyana via TKO in round 3. Next fight, a middleweight mid-off. This is a perfect representation of this entire card in one fight, and that is Cody Brundage. She's taking on Andre Petroski. This is the battle of Cam Roston's children, to be frank. Cody, you got to give him some credit. This is going to be his 3rd fight in 2026, and he hasn't won any of them yet. So why would he fight again in 2026? It's probably because he wants to get out of his UFC contract. The UFC, to be fair, they have just fed Cody Brundage the toughest possible guys at middleweight that are up and coming, except for Julian Marquez. That was a bone. But Andre Petroski, he's coming off of a round 1 knockout loss that I'm not going to hold against him too much. He's a pretty mid fighter. His weakness is obviously his chin. His first 3 wins in the UFC were all finishes. Every win since has just come via decision, so he hasn't done anything too impressive lately. Very solid grappling base. He does a lot of the UFC Fight Pass invitationals and grappling tournaments when he's not in fight camp. I'm going to go with Andre Petroski to win a decision here, a close decision, because some reason Cody Brundage makes most of the people that he fights look worse than they actually are. So I'm going to go with Andre Petroski, and we'll move on to the next fight. Thank God it is the last women's fight on the card, and that is Ketlen Viera. She's taking on Jacqueline Cavalcanti, and we'll start with Viera. Viera's never lost 2 fights in a row. Okay? This will be her 15th fight in the UFC, and only one finish in her historic UFC run of Ketlen Viera. One finish. That was 9 years ago. Give me Jacqueline Cavalcanti to win a decision here. She's won all 5 of her fights in the UFC, all by decision, some of them close decisions. So we haven't seen anything special out of Jacqueline yet, but she's still sort of young. She's 28. She still has a little more time to develop and impress the fan base. So I'm going to go with her to win a decision here, but it would be cool to watch her get a finish and also give Ketlen Viera her first 2 losses in a row. We'll move on to the next fight. Tommy Gantt is taking on Artur Minev. He was supposed to be fighting Trey Ogden. Tommy Gantt was supposed to be fighting Trey Ogden, but Trey Ogden got injured, so this is a very short notice replacement. Artur Minev. So we'll start off with him. He's finished 6 of 7 wins. 4 of them did come via knockout. He's making his UFC debut from Fury. He's got a decent resume despite him only having 7 pro fights. He's very well-rounded. He's got great hands. He's got some slick submission skills. But Tommy Gantt, on the other hand, he's also finished all of his wins except for 1. Both of these are undefeated guys. This is an upgrade, I'd say, to the card. Bringing on Artur Minev, I think he's got more to offer than Trey Ogden besides his experience. Tommy Gantt, 6 of those 10 wins are via knockout, 4 via submission. Dana White Contender Series alumni coming off of a submission win last fall. He's a very well-rounded prospect as well. He's got it all. Great stand-up, great ground game, and he wears against you when we're against the cage. So if he's able to get Artur in a clinch position against the cage, that's when Tommy really starts to shine. So I'm going to go with him to get the knockout win just because this is a short-notice fight. Anything can happen. I do see this ending in a finish, but I'm just going to go with Tommy Gantt here. And we'll move on to the next fight, which is a light heavyweight fight. Tokkos is taking on Ivan Erslan in another mid-off fight. Both of these guys had 3 fights in the UFC. Tuco's the only one to win 1 of them. So combined 6 fights in the UFC, 5 total losses. This is a shit fight, but we'll start with Tuco. He's 1-2 in the UFC. His only win is via submission against Junior Tafa. So that's not even a real win. I'm not going to really even count that. Now, he has finished 9 of 11 wins, 6 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's a half-decent grappler, which is better than most unranked light heavyweights. So that's kind of all you really need to do in this weight class. Ivan Erslan, he's 0-3 in the UFC, like I mentioned. 11 of 14 wins are finishes, and I think 10 of those are knockouts. So he's got finisher potential, just shit grappling. So for that reason, give me Tokkos to win this via submission, and we'll move on to the next fight. The next fight was supposed to be Jeremiah Wells and Nicholas Darby, I believe. Nicholas Darby, it just broke out, I think, last night. He had an undisclosed injury. I'm not sure what it is, but Nicholas Darby was out of his fight. Unable to find Jeremiah Wells a replacement up to this point. It's Wednesday when I'm recording this. So that fight's canceled. They'll probably rebook that later in the future or find Jeremiah Wells a different opponent on one of the next up-and-coming cards. So we got a welterweight fight instead. Chaos Williams is taking on Nikolay Veretennikov. I think I almost nailed that. We'll start with Nikolay. He's coming off of a knockout win over Nico fucking Price. Okay, I'm also not going to... I'm going to give you as much credit for that as I'm going to give Tokkos for submitting Tafa. The only other win for Nikolay is over the small welterweight Francisco Prado, who I don't even think is that good. He definitely needs to go down to lightweight. I think he might already have went down to lightweight. Anyways, that win I don't really even credit either. So I'm not impressed with his resume. We move over to Chaos Williams on the other hand. He is on a 2-fight skid, and Gabriel Bonfim did put him to sleep pretty bad. He looked like a fish trying to breathe on land. It was not pretty. But Chaos Williams does have the power to put out most welterweights. I can attest to that. The first to connect will win this fight. Give me Chaos Williams to win this fight via knockout. We'll move on to the next fight, which is Timmy Cuamba. He's taking on Bernardo Sopaj. We'll start with Bernardo. He's the younger fighter, 25 years old. He's finished 10 of 12 wins, 7 by knockout. So he's got some decent grappling, but he wants to strike. He wants to stay on the feet. He wants to get the knockout win. His last fight was January of last year against Ricky Tercios, I believe, via decision. So that's not really a great fighter. I kind of expect you to. Well, Ricky's tough to finish, so I'm not going to hold too much against Sopaj for not finishing him. But he's pretty young. We don't have a lot of UFC fights to go off of. I need to see how he looks since it's been a year and a half since his last fight. He might have the grappling advantage here, but Timmy Cuamba, he's 2-2 in the UFC. His last 2 fights were both of his wins. So he's got some momentum. He's got a little win streak going on technically. Fighting out of Extreme Couture. You know, I love that gym. Sean Strickland's out of that gym. I think he's got the better fight IQ. He's got better training partners. He's been a little bit more active. He should outstrike Bernardo in 2 rounds. So give me Timmy Cuamba to win this fight via decision. We'll move on to the next one. Modestas Bukauskas was supposed to be fighting Rodolfo Bellato. Rodolfo pulled out like a Academy Award winning actor would. Fuck that guy. I was going to go with Modestas to win that fight, but I'm not sure I am now. Modestas is coming off of a knockout loss on the Pimlet Gaethje card this year where he took a lot of damage. But he was riding a 4-fight win streak going into that fight. He beat Paul Craig by knockout. Rodolfo Bellato had to chicken and coward his way out of that one. Since his return to the UFC in 2023, he's 6-2. Both of his losses are via knockout. So I was going to go with Modestas, but I think I'm going to go with the newbie here. I think we're going to go with the short notice guy who's coming off of a knockout win this year in February, Christian Edwards. He's making his UFC debut. I'm going to put all my chips, all my faith into this guy because I just cannot pick Modestas to win a fight against a legitimate light heavyweight. Bellato is not a legitimate light heavyweight in my eyes. He's a fucking actor. Modestas Bukauskas has just been a little bit chinny. I'm going to trust Christian Edwards here to get it done. I haven't looked at any of the props for any of these fights, but I'm sure he's going to be a big underdog. So give me Christian Edwards. I can't count on Modestas' chin. We'll move on to the next fight. And this is a fun one. This is a very fun fight. The most fun one so far, with the exception of the Brundage Petroski. That could be weird. But anyways, Malcolm Wellmaker is taking on Juan Diaz in a bantamweight fight. A lot of people are saying Malcolm Wellmaker is a fraud after what Ethan Uwig did to him on short notice. But I think Ethan Uwig is exceptional, so I'm not going to hold that loss over his head too much. But all of Malcolm's wins in the UFC have been first-round knockouts. So this is some really good matchmaking here. I hope to see a savage bounce-back performance from Malcolm. I'm going to go with Malcolm to get a knockout win here. But Juan Diaz, this is a tough guy to fight. He's coming off of a crazy spinning elbow knockout on his Contender Series fight. He's got solid stand-up foundation. He picks his shots very well on his feet. He's a very smart fighter. He could take punishment just as well as he could deal it out. We could be in store for a 15-minute war here. This could be fight of the night. But I'm going to go with Malcolm Wellmaker. I do think he's going to finish the rookie on his debut here. And I'm not going to take anything away from Juan Diaz. I think he could be really special. We'll just see. And that is the co-main event. Real quick before I break this down, if you could please leave me a thumbs up, drop a comment below. Let me know if you agree, disagree with any of these picks. And without further ado, let's wrap this up. Do-Ho Choi is taking on Daniel Santos. We'll start with the South Korean fighter. Do-Ho Choi's last 2 fights were knockout wins. He's 2-2-1 in his last 5 fights, but he has not fought since 2024. Finishing 14 of 16 wins, 13 of those by knockout. He's going on 12 years with the company. I have not been impressed with Choi since his losing streak from 2016 to 2019. He just hasn't been consistent, hasn't been that active. I'm going to go with Daniel Santos to finish this fight via knockout. He's like the Thanos of destroying South Koreans. His last 2 wins were wins against South Koreans in the UFC. He has not been finished yet. He's won 4 straight since his UFC debut loss. Solid Muay Thai, well-rounded everywhere. Give me Daniel Santos to finish Do-Ho Choi via knockout in the first round. And we'll move on to the main event, Arnold Allen and MELK Costa. This is going to be a barn burner. Arnold Allen, he's never been finished yet. He's coming off of a loss to Gene Silva. MELK Costa, he's riding a 6-fight win streak going into this fight. This could be 7. Two finishes by knockout, 2 finishes by submission, and 2 decision wins. So he could do it all. He could finish you via head kick, body shots, TKO, ground and pound, submissions. He could take it to decision and win here. Now, this will be MELK Costa's first time headlining a fight night, a fight card. So this is going to be his first 5-round fight. I do think he's got better tools to get Allen out of there than Allen has to get MELK out of there. But with that being said, as this goes into the championship rounds or the longer this fight goes, I could see ARNOLD Allen having some successes. So if this does go the distance, without a doubt, it's going to be fight of the night. But I don't think it will. I'm going to go with Arnold. I'm not going to go with ARNOLD Allen. I'm going to go with MELK Costa, who I believe is a slight underdog from what I saw on Twitter. I'm going to go with MELK Costa to get this done. I think he might be the first one to finish ARNOLD Allen here. But this fight could really go many different ways. So just enjoy this fight. Pay attention to this one. It's going to be fun to watch. We have the Netflix card as well, so I'm going to have predictions for that dropping. But yeah, give me MELK Costa. I think he's going to get it done here, and we'll see how we do. Leave me a thumbs up if you enjoy the predictions here, and I will have a video predicting the Netflix fights here in the next couple days. But thank you so much for watching. UFC Vegas 117 full card predictions, detailed notes in 15 minutes. Who else does it better than me? Thanks for watching.